All right, today we're going to talk to you a little bit about mock scrapes. We're going to talk to you about how we make them, where we put them, and why we use them. They're really important to help you draw bucks into the area. So we want to show you step by step how we go about putting those in. First thing you want to do is pick the area where you want your mock scrape or mock scrapes. Maybe you want to do multiple. In this location, I'm just putting one in. So it's on a very small piece. I've got a nice killer food plots here where I've got deer coming into here on a regular basis. One of the issues is a lot of times the deer are 30-40 yards out in this field, and even with today's equipment you can easily make that shot, but I'd rather take a 20-yard shot any day of the week. So by putting this mock scrape in, I'm going to draw the deer in closer to me. Okay, so it's time to get started on making your mock scrape. First off is what you want to do is you want to work up the ground about a 2 or 3 foot circle underneath that overhanging branch that you've already picked out. Work it up, get all the grass out of there, get it right down to dirt. You can even fling some dirt around. The deer naturally do that with their hoofs. Next thing you want to do is break one of those branches on your overhanging limb. The deer naturally do this in the wild. If you look at scrapes that are made by bucks, they're sticking their head up in there, rubbing their glands, their horns are getting up in there, and when it does that, it snaps some of the limbs. So you'll see a lot of times limbs broke, and what it also does is it creates sort of a hanging branch for them to smell, rub glands on, and be a great location to check out what deer are in the area. Now, as you can see, when I'm making this broken branch, I'm using a tool. You could use sticks. I'm using the Scrape Maker by Conquest Scents, but getting up there and snapping that without using your hands, you really don't want to grab onto it to snap it with your hands. You're going to put scent all over it, and where the deer are sniffing and you're trying to get them to sniff, you don't want to put human scent in there. Now, I'm also going to add a little bit of scent to this. Again, you want to use some type of herd or gland scent to put on this limb. You don't want to put estrus on there or some rutting buck scent or anything like that. It'd be really hard for them to get those parts of the deer up on those limbs. So what do? The deer in the wild, they rub their head, their glands on it, so you want to use those type of scents. And this one I'm using Evercalm, and I like to use Evercalm just because it's a stick wax form. It's really clean, nice. It's got a great smell to it from natural Michigan deer, and so I like to use it. So I'm rubbing it all over this branch just to put some nice scent on there for the deer to start working that area. The next step is I actually want to put a little bit of scent in the scrape. Now, you don't have to do this, and you can use multiple things. In this instance, I'm using some rutting buck. I'm actually scraping off some of that wax from Conquest Scents on there and putting it right down in the scrape. That's getting that natural rutting buck scent right in the dirt. Now, you could use estrus, you could use different doe and buck peas, you could use a lot of things. Some people use drip bottles to keep them coming into this area. So that's what I'm using today, but again, there's lots of options out there for what you can actually put in the scrape. All right, so I've got my mock scrape 2 to 3 feet around. I broke my branch. I've got my scents in. Last little step I'm going to do with the Scrape Maker actually has a deer hoof print on it, so I'm making a quick print in the dirt to make it just a little more realistic. So now we've got our mock scrape made. We've talked about the location of where we put it. Now let's talk about why we use mock scrapes. 3 main reasons for me, and this can change for different people. But for me, one is to see the inventory of the bucks I got in my area. These bucks will come up and check it. As you can see, I got my stealth cam pointing right at it, so I'm getting pictures and inventory of all the deer coming through this area, even when it's late at night, so I can see what bucks are in the area. The second reason I use mock scrapes is, again, we talked about this earlier, is drawing the deer in closer to you. A lot of times in this plot, the deer are 30-40 yards out into the hayfield, and even with today's equipment, you can make that shot, but it's really nice to take that 20-yard shot versus that 40-yard shot. It's more ethical, and that's the way we like to do things. The last and final reason why I use mock scrapes is to keep the deer coming through. Mock scrapes can be hard to hunt at night. Sometimes not hitting them till late. They do work at night sometimes, but really in the morning, those mid-morning, them bucks are running in the rut, checking to see what other bucks are in there, what does are into heat. So it's gonna make them travel. It's gonna keep them on their feet and keep them coming by your stand multiple times throughout the hunting season to give you the best opportunity. I hope you guys enjoyed this tip today. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot us a message on one of our social medias, and we'll be happy to help you out. Good luck this season.